đã coba aku seringnya. Selain kemarin dan
hàng tu nun mani hai here đi này.
Này.
Rồi.
Cũng sẵn rồi.
bật sầm lên phong.ក្រុមការងារផ្សេងៗជួយបិទសម្លេងឲ្យយើងដល់កម្មវិធីចេញ error. Starting our program. I'd like to welcome all you this morning conference. Khang san tút máy khang san tút chạy khang san tút khang đi kun tham gia bây giờ. So I would like to start our program. First of all, I would like to pay homage to the Paul James. I would like to pay my great respect to His Holiness of Cambodia. I would like to pay respect to His Eminent Samdai Prem Hariyawong Dr. Ki Samanratana, Acting Rector, Priyasunuraj Buddhist University. I would like to pay respect to Priyamani Kosal Dr. Yon Seng Yet, Rectors of Priyasunuraj Buddhist University, and would like to pay respect to all most venerable masters, professors, as speaker in this international virtual regional conference. I also would like to pay respect to all venerable monks in this room and outside this room. I would like to extend my warmly greeting to Her Excellency Devyani Khobraket, Ambassador of the Republic of India to Cambodia. And I would like to greet to all participants in this room, and I would like to extend my warmly greeting to all audience who are viewing the live stream on the Facebook page of Priyasunuraj Buddhist University. In order to start our program, I would like to introduce the program of International Conference, Virtual Regional Conference on Buddhism in Literatures of Southeast Asia as following. So for the program today, one number, the time from 7:30, 7:45, all speakers and guests log in Zoom for 15 minutes before the program started. The time 7:45, 8:05, open speech by His Eminent Samdai Prem Hariyawong Dr. Ki Samanratana, and open remarks by Most Venerable Dr. Thammapiya, Secretary General of Buddhist Confederation, IBC. And next, the first session program that would chair by Priyasunuraj Dr. Yon Seng Yet, Directors of Priyasunuraj Buddhist University. The time from 8:05, 8:30, the presentation by Venerable Assistant Professor Dr. Prabhaha Nopadon from MCU. And next, the presentation by Assistant Professor Dr. Pramaha Supong Onjo from MCU. And the third presentation by Dr. Hansa Boribun from Laos. And the fourth one for the morning session, the presentation by President Dr. Sokbun Thun from Cambodia. And the last one for the presentation by Ms. Latifa from Indonesia. And for the second session at the afternoon time, that would chair by His Eminence Samdai Pramaha Rajivong Dr. Kisamandatana, Acting Director of President University. The first presentation by Venerable Dr. Arya Vangsa from Myanmar. The second presentation by Venerable Dr. Brahmani Kosal Yon Seng Yit from Cambodia, from President University. And the third presentation by Venerable Dr. Sem Chun Lee from Cambodia, from President University. And the third presentation by Venerable Chao Tinh from Vietnam. The fourth presentation at the afternoon time by Mr. Kadek Yudi Madana from Indonesia. And the fifth presentation at the afternoon time presented by Dr. Bunsi Puthuong from Laos. So this and the last program at the afternoon time at 5:30, the closing remark by Her Excellency Dr. Devyani Khobrakat, the Indian Embassy to Cambodia. So this is just a brief introduction about our program today. And to start our program, I would like to invite His Eminence Samdai Pramaha Rajivong Dr. Ki Samandatana, Acting Director of President University, to deliver the welcome speech. Please, His Eminence. His Eminence, you here? His Eminence, are you here? Can you hear me, His Eminence Dr. Ki Samandatana? Probably the technical problem. So next, I would like to invite Most Venerable Dr. Dhammapeya, Secretary General of International Buddhist Confederation, IBC, to deliver the speech. Please, Venerable Doctor.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Buddhang saranang gacchami Dhammang saranang gacchami Sanghang saranang gacchami Dutiyampi tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami Dhammang saranang gacchami Sanghang saranang gacchami Dukkha petaca nidukha Bhaya petaca nibhaya Soka petaca nisukha Antu sabapi panino. A very good morning to all of you from India, the land of Buddha. His Eminence, most venerable Samdek Dr. Ki Suvarnaratna Mahatheroji, members of Mahasangha, Venerable Masters, Nuns, Bhikkhunis, Her Excellency Dr. Divyani Khobragadeji, Indian Ambassador to the Kingdom of Cambodia, erudite speakers, scholars, my brothers, sisters, and friends in Dhamma. On behalf of IBC, ICCR, and our co-partners, co-organizer in Cambodia, and Indian Embassy in Cambodia, I take this opportunity to welcome you all this morning to this virtual conference, virtual international conference on Buddhism in literature of Southeast Asia. You might know the government of India, Minister of Tourism, in association with ICCR, IBC, is organizing a series of national and international conferences as a part of the celebration of Global Buddhist Conclave. We are supposed to have 4 national conferences within India, out of which we have completed 2, that is Dharamshala and Hyderabad. 2 more are to be organized, one in JNU, New Delhi, then Gangtok and Sikkim. And 4 outside India, there is one in Thailand, which we have already completed, one with South Korea, we all have already completed, and one with Japan, that also we have done. Today we are having with Cambodia co-organizer. And after completing these regional conferences, 4 in India, 4 outside India, it will culminate or conclude at Navanalanda Mahavihara in Bihar, which was supposed to be held in the month of November 2021, but due to certain unavoidable circumstances, I understand it will be postponed to January 2022 or the date that the competent authority will notify later. Today's topic, as we understand, is Buddhism in literature of Southeast Asia. We all know the Buddha, Sakyamuni the Buddha, who traveled or took journey, rather I would say took journey as Prince Siddhartha from Lumbini and came to Bodh Gaya, Uruvela or Bodh Gaya that we know today. This journey, the first phase of journey, Prince Siddhartha took the journey from Lumbini, across all the rivers, jungles, and all the villages in search of truth, and reached Bodh Gaya or Uruvela, and he came to be known as Gautama the Buddha. There is a transformation from Siddhartha, the Prince Siddhartha Gautama, to Gautama the Buddha, the Tathagata. The first phase of journey. The second phase of journey is as Gautama the Buddha. For 45 years, he took journey, traveled to different parts of India, to Shravasti, to Saranath, to Vaishali, to Nalanda, Rajgiha, Pawa, to many other parts of then India, Bharat. What we see is throughout his journey, we have the transformation. The first phase of his journey, he got transformed from Prince Siddhartha Gautama to Gautama Buddha. And in the second phase of journey, when he traveled across India, he elevated the human mind, the masses, the thousands, hundreds of thousands of people became monks and nuns. Many of them have attained at least Sutapanna or Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahat. So what we can understand is the root of Buddha Dhamma is Bodh Gaya, the Uruvela or Bodh Gaya, from where the Dhamma or the Buddhism that branched out. It took big shape and traveled across India for 45 years. So what we can look at the perspective is, number one, the footsteps of the Tathagata. And after the Mahaparinirvana of the Buddha, the teachings of the Buddha, the Dhamma, did not stay only within the boundary of then Bharata or India. It traveled across the world, especially to the Southeast Asian countries. So if we are to take as a tree, we can put it in this way, that the root of the Buddha or Buddhism is at Bodh Gaya, and it slowly taken many branches first in India, then globally, different parts of the world. That is the footprints of the Buddha. Now, when the Buddha traveled from one place to another, what was that it impacted upon? We have to understand that there is transformation, as I have told, that took at the individual level, first for the Prince Siddhartha Gautama. Then when this Siddhartha Gautama became Buddha and he taught the Dhamma to masses, there was elevation of human mind, elevation of human experience, elevation of human life, and transformation of the masses, the society, and freedom for individual persons, freedom from what? Freedom for society, of course. Freedom from what? So these the teachings of the Buddha, when it traveled, it transformed and given freedom. So freedom from, I would say, Miccha Ditti, that is the wrong views. The wrong views that was held at that point of time. Of course, there are many wrong views, out of which we have to just pick a few, which are very relevant and important. Wrong view about animal sacrifice. It's believed that you sacrifice animal, you butcher animal in the name of some god or goddess, then your wishes will be fulfilled or your desire will be fulfilled, something like that. So hundreds of thousands of meek, innocent animals used to get sacrificed, just killed in the name of God or goddesses. And Buddha told specifically, that is not the right way. That is not the way that you can achieve peace and happiness. By causing harm and killing the other living being, you can never achieve the peace and happiness that you want or harmony in society. Then wrong view about this status in society. That time, society was based very strongly on caste. So Buddha tried to rationalize and make people understand. By birth, no human being is either high or low caste. It is by one's own action. By your good deed, you can be pure, you can be higher. By your own deed, impure deed, you can be lower or you can be a wretched person. So not by birth. So Buddha wanted to give a freedom to this caste-based social strata. That is, Buddha wanted to free the inequality in society and make or provide equality in society, that all human beings, they have the potentiality to grow, develop spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Otherwise, if one strives by oneself, attati prabhava, then it was Buddha who has given for the first time the equality to women, women empowerment. When the woman at that point of time was not given the opportunity to pursue this spirituality or chant mantras, this kind of thing. But Buddha said, no, whether it is man or woman or young or old, or from any status, any caste, any creed, so long as you are mentally fit, mentally sound, physically fit, physically sound, anybody can strive for and try and achieve or attain the Magga and Phala, the purity, the tranquility, the attainment.
Recording in progress.
So that's what Buddha has given, the power or the opportunity to women at that point of time for the first time to pursue spiritual goal. That is also freedom given to women. And the other thing was, there was so much of clinging to called atta or atma, like I, everywhere I'm I concept. So Buddha said it is not I. I is a stumbling block to achieve something higher in life, in the field of spirituality. So you have to dissolve, remove the I concept. So then new concept was introduced called anatma. It's not atma, it's anatma. You have to completely dissolve and then remove this I feeling. So you so long as you have the ahang bhav, or this so much of arrogance, then you cannot progress on the path of Dhamma. So these are the micchaditthi, or the wrong views Buddha tried to give freedom to the people, right? And there is a freedom for the individual person, freedom from impurity, from defilements, from hatred, from violence. That's what Buddha wanted to elevate human life, human experience, by removing or providing them freedom from this kind of wrong views. And of course, how? That is through sati, samadhi, panya. Definitely, wherever Buddha traveled, not traveling from India to other part of the world, wherever Buddhism traveled or Dhamma traveled, then it traveled with what? It traveled with its teaching. The teaching is not like in terms of some volumes of books only. It traveled with simple message, simple practice of the sati, samadhi, panya, basically. Then of course the rest follows. So we human beings are so restless. We do not know the things as they are. So this it made us know that, be aware of our own action, whether it's causing harm or causing something good. So be mindful of our mind, our words, our action, sati. And samadhi, then elevate one's own concentration, mindfulness, then realize the panya, realize the truth as it is. That's how the Buddhism traveled in this form to Southeast Asia country as well, which we call also Sila Samadhi Panya. Along with that, the Buddhism carried to Southeast Asia, that is the meditation, either it is samatha meditation or vipassana meditation. It started from India, slowly it reached to different parts of the world. Then education, that is Buddhist education, pariyatti, literature, then art, architecture, the culture, language. For example, the Pali, which we know, the Buddha had spoken and taught Dhamma, and also Sanskrit is another medium that is understood Buddha would have communicated. Pali and Sanskrit, these are two important languages which have a root in India. And if we see the Buddhism in different countries, either it is in Thailand, Cambodia, or Myanmar, or Laos, or South Korea, or Japan, or Mongolia, or wherever it is, we find the root either in Pali or in Sanskrit. So when Buddhism traveled along with all these ingredients in the culture from India, the meditation, the education, art, architecture, culture, language, literature, etc. And it developed and evolved in those countries, assimilating the local and regional values and culture of the land. And it got beautified. And then we have different forms of Buddhism today that everybody knows. Though we say Theravada and Mahayana, Vajrayana, but even in the Theravada also, you find Myanmar has Myanmar tradition of Theravada Buddhism following in a particular way. Thai has Thai way, Sri Lankan has Sri Lankan way. Different beautification of this Buddha Dhamma in different countries. Ultimately, the teaching remains the same. The root remains the same. That is, Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Noble Path, Bodhipakya Dhamma, and all the essence remain the same. In whatever tradition we practice the Dhamma. So today, at the end, I would like to convey best wishes to all the participants and speakers. We bring up this conference a success and develop good relationship with our Southeast Asian countries in the line of Buddhism, because when we trace the root of Buddha or Buddhism, that is India. There are some people who are trying to mislead the world or mislead the people, saying that Buddha was not in India, but in some other country, or Rajgir or Nalanda or Savasti. It was in some other country. History is history. Nobody can deny the history. Anybody can create a story. Story is story, but story doesn't reflect the true nature of things. History does it. So historically, the birthplace of Buddha is in Lumbini, Nepal, then Bodh Gaya in India, where Buddha has attained enlightenment, then the first sermon taught at Saranath, in Varanasi, then passed away in Kushinagar. All are in India, except Lumbini, the birthplace. So that the fact has to be emphasized, as some people are trying to mislead the masses nowadays. So I hope we strengthen our relationship with our Southeast Asian countries, especially with Cambodia, that we are having today this conference. Hope after Corona is over, we can have many more programs with our Cambodia counterpart and IBC in physical form in near future. Bhavatu Sabha Mangalam. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Venerable Dr. Dhammabiya, Secretary General of International Buddhist Confederation, for your meaningful speech for this opening international regional Buddhist conference. The following program for the session one. For the session one, will chair by Venerable Brahmani Kosal Dr. Yon Seng Jiet. Venerable Dr. Yon Seng Jiet, he graduated from Kalyani, Kelaniya from Sri Lanka, in Buddhist study in philosophy for his BA and Master. And Most Venerable Dr. Yon Seng Jiet, he graduated PhD in International Relations from Royal Academy Cambodia. And Venerable Dr. Yon Seng Jiet, he also graduated from Harvard University for his postdoctoral research fellowship. So for this morning panel discussion and presentation, will chair by Venerable Dr. Brahmani Kosal Yon Seng Jiet. So the floor is yours, Most Venerable Dr. Yon Seng Jiet, please.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namaskar and good morning to the most venerable Dhammapir, the Secretary General of International Buddhist Confederation, respected venerable monks. It is a moment of extreme pleasure for me to welcome all the speakers and participants who are virtually present here to attend this webinar workshop on Buddhism in literature of Southeast Asia. Before we start the session, I would like to inform all the speakers that each of you is given 25 minutes to share your topics with the audience. And I will wait to you when you have 3 minutes left so that you can wrap up your speech. And I will not touch upon the subject. I'm gonna leave this to the speakers to share the perspectives on their own topics. Due to a time constraint, please kindly allow me to start the session by inviting our first speaker, Venerable Assistant Professor Dr. Pratmaha Napadon Punya Suwatago. Venerable Panya Napadon is a Senior Vice Dean and Lecturer in the Department of Pali and Sanskrit, the Faculty of Buddhism, MCU, Thailand. The Venerable gonna talk on the Dhammapada Katha, the conceptual influence on Buddhist way of life and peace in Southeast Asia. We do have a lot of similarities, especially in the Southeast Asia, and Buddhism has great impact on way of life of the people, tradition, culture, and language. Without further ado, I would like to invite Venerable Napadon to share his perspective on the topics. Venerable Sir, the screen is yours, please.
Good morning, most venerable professors, distinguished guests. Arun Suwasadai, Sawadee Krab. Great pleasure to be here to share our experience and knowledge together in Southeast Asia. As a the Buddhist monk, since I became a small novice, I know this Dhammapada when I was a young boy, young novice, and study in the monastic system. In this Southeast Asia, I'm sure all of us have experience with this, that Dhammapada commentaries from the Tripitaka. Dhammapada Dhammapada Katha, the conception influence on Buddhist people in South Asia, in Buddhist way and peace. The meaning of Dhammapada Katha we can translate in easy way. That means the commentary on the Dhammapada. Dhammapada is the way of good virtue. Very important. First of all, we need to understand what goodness is and how evil is. A person who decides to be a good person, but we don't know the way of good, is not clear. How can we practice and follow the way, the good way, the right way? So even a person wants to avoid the evil, but does not know what is the punishment of the evil or the bad effect. How can we refrain from weakness? Good deeds are not difficult to achieve if we learn how to do good deeds and know exactly where is it. As the Buddha explained that good deeds are easy to do for good people. It's hard to do for bad people. Evil is easy to do for the bad. It's difficult to do for the good. The matter of doing good and avoiding evil is not too difficult for good people. พระพุทธโฆษาจารย์ the commentator, translators, composed the Dhammapada commentaries from Tripitaka, Khuddaka Nikaya, volume 25. We can realize the infinite benefits of doing good deeds and the great punishment of doing evil by pointing out the way of good and the pitfalls of evil. At the same time, to clearly distinguish good and evil. And presenting other categories that can develop oneself toward the path of liberation. Vimuttimakha, the section of my training section or my training chapter. Chittavakha, the part Makhavakha, during Arahatavakha, etc. Dhamma tales before the Dhamma tales therefore benefits a wide range of people, including priests, kings, politicians, government officials, and even the general householders. So, the origin of the Dhammapadatta is originated from the works of Prathammakosajan and other Thera monks in the 5th century Buddhist era. As the history record that the original commentary was brought by Brahmahinda Thera, son of King Asoka Maharaj, to Sri Lanka and has been translated into Sinhalese. The existing commentary in India has been lost, exists, but is incomplete. So Venerable Revata advised Prabuddhakhosajan to go to Sri Lanka for studying and translating it, return to original Bihara language. The commentary on Dhammapada is a type of scripture that explains the Tripitaka appears in Suttanta Pitaka, Khuddaka Nikaya, volume 25. The Lord Buddha performed it as a poem called the Katha of Dhammapada, or the verse, Pali verse, with 423 stanzas, with 302 accompanying tales, called the Dhammapada tales. Prabuddhakhosajan, Indian Buddhist monk scholar, translated from ancient Sinhalese to Tanti language. Tanti language in Pali, Tanti Pasam Manorama. The commentator explains the Dhamma principle in the Dhammapada, the Kuttaka Nikaya, Thai version of the Tipitaka in volume 25. The text is sweet, short, and sharp, suitable for application as a guideline for life. The Dhammapada Katha was composed in the post-Tripitaka era. Post-canonical literature is classified in the same group as Milinta Panha literature of Buddhadatta, literature of Phra Buddhakosachan, and the literature of Phra Dhammapala, which is this is a literature written according to Pali grammar literature. The nature of each story is unique throughout every story. Each story contains principles and morals and Buddhist teaching methods that are the heart of Buddhist ethics, which the Lord Buddha has shown comprehensively, suitable for people of all ages. Easy to understand, there is a content that is not mysterious. The Dhammapada commentary has appeared in writing in Southeast Asia, especially in Thailand, as enough evidence around the year 2060 Buddhist era, around 500 years ago. Namely, Phra Siri Mangkarajan, who composed Mangkalatthipani, the Mangala Sutta commentary book, has referred some message from the Dhammapada commentary, which inscribed in Lana characters on some palm leaves, some of Khmer characters. In later times, they have been copied from the Khmer alphabets to Thai alphabets, published as the books, as they appear in the publishing 8 books. Dhammapada commentaries, book 1 to 8. Around 1896, as the edition of Mahamakutta Rajavidyalaya, as it has been published continuously. They are used in curriculum of Pali studies, class 1 to 6 of 9 classes totally, or Parientham 1 to Parientham 6 prayok of 9 prayoks. But I would like to bring the evidence that Dhammapada commentaries appear in Thai region, Southeast Asia also. That is, we discovered the Thai archaeologists. They discover the evidence, stone inscription. Yeah, we call it Ye Dhamma inscription, Ye Dhamma Khatha inscription. It's very important in Thailand. We discover this inscription. We know very well this Khatha. Ye Dhamma Hetu Papava, Te Sang Hetung Tathakato, Te Sanjayo Nirodhoja, Evang Vadi Mahasamano. Of those phenomena which arise from causes, those causes have been taught by the Tathagata or the Buddha, and their cessation too, thus proclaims the great ascetic Mahasamana. The Pali commentaries take the first line as pointing to suffering, dukkha, ye dhamma hetu pappava, and then the second line to its cause, samudaya, and the third line to its cessation, nirodha. Ye dhamma khatha inscription discovered at Phra Prathom Jedi, the first Chaitya stupa or pagoda in the Varavadi period around 12th Buddhist century, 2500. Nowadays we are in 2564. So with the time 1364 years ago. So at Nakhon Pathom province, Wat Phra Pathom Jedi in Nakhon Pathom province, Thailand, is like the inscript of King Nadi Varamas Danapatra of the Pallava dynasty in the 30th Buddhist century, and similar to the Shovanese inscription Jambu and Kevon Gobi around the 12th Buddhist century. But the lines in above two inscriptions roll down like the Mahanavika Buddha Gupta inscription around the 12th Buddhist century. This principle, like the inscription Kedah, site number 2, tablet of Malaysia in 13th century, is scrolled from left to right. As for the inscription of Wat Maheyong, Pranakhon Si Ayutthaya province, Thailand, are rolled from right to left, which is like inscription Makdu and Figura of Lord Singha Raman, mid 12th Buddhist century. This Ye Dhamma Khatha inscription stone, read and interpreted by Associate Professor Ch. M. Keo Klai, Thai archaeologist, very popular. So and also we are here in Southeast Asia, monks and lay people who are studying in the university. We learn so many stories and tales from the Buddha times through the Dhammapada commentaries. The Dhammapada commentaries or Dhammapada Takatha means a commentary on Dhamma way of virtue of good life, divided into the sections called chapters. There are 26 chapters as follow. One is Yamaka Vakha, the pairs. Heedfulness, Appamada Vakha. The mind, Chitta Vakha. Flowers, Pupa Vakha. The fool, Bala Vakha. The wise man, Pandita Vakha. The Arahanta, or perfect one, Arahanta Vakha. The thousands, Sahasa Vakha. Evil, Papa Vakha. Violence, Danta Vakha. Old age, Chara Vakha. The self, Atta Vakha. The world, Loka Vakha. The Buddha, Buddha Vakha. Happiness, Sukha Vakha. Affection or love, Piya Vakha. Anger, Gota Vakha. Impurity, Malavakha, the just. Dhammatta Vakha, the pride, or the way, Makkhavakha. Miscellaneous, Pakinakavakha, the state of wool, Nirayavakha, the elephant, Nakhavakha, craving, Tanhavakha, the monks or monastics, Bhikkhuvakha, and the last one, 26th chapter, the holy man, Brahmanavakha. The origin of commentary on the Dhammapada, if we admit the commentary has existed since the Buddha's time, the commentary is the same era as Tripitaka. This evidence can bring this evidence from the Buddha's time as from the Abhidhamma Sankhani Anutika Pali and Vinaya Atthakatha Pali. Said in Pali, Patama Sankhiti Yang Ya Atthakatha Sankhitati Vajanena Sa Bhagavato Dharamana Kalepi Atthakatha Sangvichati. The meaning, the commentary that Sankhitikacharyas combined and composed translation in the first Buddhist synod is commentaries Atthakatha that is came from the Buddha times. See, this meaning the commentaries or explanation the Buddha's teachings that exist since the Buddha times, not later. At that time, all Buddha's disciples, holy Buddha's disciples, Arahanta, recite and recognize the Dhamma Vinaya in Tripitaka as Tripitaka by the oral recitation, Mukha and also not only the Katha or the hearts of the Dhamma Vinaya, all the holy disciples or Arahanta have to recognize or recite the commentary also, Atthakatha, explanations of Tripitaka. So when they recognize in one person, one group, but this Dhamma Vinaya divide into Vinaya, Suttanta, Abhidhamma later, around the third or fourth Buddhist synods, councils, and distinguish from into Vinaya, Suttanta, Abhidhamma, and record into the palm leaves by land. And also in Pali also, Pali said, Chataka Panakena Sathakathang Chatakang Ukahetapang Tato Orang Navatati Dhammapadampi Aha Vattuna Ukahetung Vatati. The monk who recognize the teachings of Shataka have to learn the Chataka accompanying by commentaries. More than that, it's not properly. So see, at that time, monks have to learn Tripitaka accompanying by commentaries also. More than that is not true study, not true learning. Dhammapada also should be learned with the tales, the story, to make it clear. So the commentary this came from the Buddha's times. The Buddha, that's the meaning. The monks who study the Chataka have to recognize the Chataka Khathas, Chataka verse in the Tipitaka, volume 27 to 28, along with the tales, Chataka tales. Nowadays it was printed, published in 10 books. For the monks who study the Dhammapada have to study by recognizing the Khatha, Dhammapada Khatha, in Tipitaka, volume 25, along with the Dhammapada tales. Nowadays, it prints in the books, 8 books. 8 books. Dhamma Patatakathaya, Patamo Phako, Tutiyo Phako, Tatiyo Phako, Atto Phako, Panjamo Phako, Chatto Phako, Satamo Phako, Attamo Phako. 8 books. This evidence from Abhidhamma Sankhani Anutika, volume 1, and Vinaya Atthakatha, the commentary on Vinaya Pali, volume 2, book 2. Yeah, this is the evidence that the Dhammapada commentaries or Dhammapada Kathayas from the Buddha times, the Dhamma Khosa, Pra Dhamma, Pra Puttha Khosa Charya, just the translator or commentator, not composed by himself. Dhammapada Katha become very popular in conception influence on people in South Asia because of its completeness, both in appearance and taste, are at least 3 things I should summarize here. 1. Dhammapada content is short. Dhammapada Katha's content is short, simply, clear, profound Dhamma, reflection, the true Buddha Dhamma. It helps to remember easily and can be applied in daily life practice. And number 2, also the Dhamma Patattakatha is short and simply, is profound to essence of the Buddha Dhamma, and it has been categorized as appropriate following interested parties to choose and read recording as their interest. And the last one, the most prominent methods of teaching Dhamma is the use of parables clearly and eloquently. The commentary on Dhammapada was translated into the Pali language by the Puttha Kosacharya, has collected important information on many matters, namely social information and regions, extracted from the original Sinhalese commentary, including new information written in edition which is a story in the 3rd century Buddhist before Christ's era until the 5th century. There were also events that occur in the same commentary, contemporary as Puttha Kosacharya insert as well. So this Pali commentary therefore is a very valuable evidence.
Venerable Prachan,
Yes.
I give you 2 minutes more to wrap up your speech,
Okay.
please.
Yeah. All ethical aspects of human behavior and human design, are found in the Dhammapada Katha commentary. Hence, it becomes a great conceptual influence on the Buddhist morality we call Sila, peaceful heart, Samadhi, wisdom and freedom of mind, Panya, that are concerned with the social benefits in South Asia. It never asks to give up ethical part of personality while uniting the highest peace and happiness, nirvana or nibbana. As in Pali said, Natti Santi Parang Sukhang, Nibbanang Paramang Sukhang. The freedom from suffering, Tanhakkayo Sappadukang Chinati. From the modern point of the view also, today's society is in need of just ethical principles in this. Every walk of life is the time to rethink, research and follow the Buddhist ethics to get rid from the turmoil of the present society and to promote social peace in family, society and country. Only ethics can guide us towards an ideal society in future. In this context, the ethics comments in the Dhammapada seems to be very useful. The Buddhist ethics from Dhammapada has the quality to reform the society with the cooperation of all the Indian ethics and Buddhist communication innovation as well. Thank you very much for your intention.
ขอบคุณมากพระอาจารย์ for your great contributions on the topic of the commentary of Dhammapada, the conceptual influence on Buddhist way of life and peace in Southeast Asia. Such a very wonderful presentation. You have touched upon the whole Dhammapada commentary, telling us the number of the stanzas, the number of the chapters from Mindvagga to Mangvagga. It is a very popular book in Southeast Asia, and I think that it might be difficult for those who are not in the area of the Buddhist literature because of the terminologies and all. But anyway, it's very wonderful presentation, and thank you very much once again for Venerable Napadon. Kapun Mak Ajan. And I would like to inform the admin, you please mute all the accounts except the speaker. The technician, please mute all the accounts, and and please mute the account someอื่น and just keep only my account and the speaker. And now let's move on to the second speaker. I would like to, before I move on to the second speaker, I would like to inform all the participants that for our sessions, there will be, before the end of the session, there will be a Q&A session. So everybody are welcome to comments or have a question for our speakers. But we're gonna do it only at the end of the session. Okay, thank you very much. And let's move on to the second speakers. He's gonna talk on the critical study of man sources of getting rebirth for the beings regarding the Thai literature Traimabhumi Katha. We see a lot of similarities between Thai and Cambodia. We also have Traipum. We call Traipum. You call Tripum Makatha. So it's very interesting topic. Rebirth. One of the. It's not easy to convince the people or to tell the people that there is a rebirth. So we might fully depend on the speakers. The most venerable assistant professor, Dr. Pratmaha Sumpung Uniyo. Venerable is a vice director of International Buddhist Studies College, Mahachulalongkorn Rajavidyalaya, University MCU, Thailand. Venerable Ajahn Sumpong, please, the screen is yours.
Respected all most venerable venerable friends, and good morning all of us here. So anyway, before giving presentations, I would like to thank all the organizer who gave me invitation to present the papers today. I'm very happy to see all of us again, but unfortunate for us that we cannot meet face by face because of the crisis of coronavirus. I hope that the situation will disappear soon, then we will meet face by face in your country, Cambodia. I hope so. Venerable, can I share the screen? Can I share the PowerPoint?
See screen. Yeah.
So, okay, because of the topic is full of information, I will try to go fast, and if any questions, we will discuss later. So my topic is on the critical study of main sources of getting liberals for the being regarding the Thai Buddhist literatures, or we call the Thai Phumikatha, or in Thai language we call the Thai Phum Paluang. What does it mean Thai Phumikatha? Why we put the name of the Thai Phum Paluang? So the scope I would like to present today is I try to put first introduction, the second one who is the authors and the meanings of the Thai Phumikatha or Thai Phumikatha. The third one, three words, and the other one, the fourth one, sensual fun, the causes of getting brought in there. The fifth one, the main realm of the form or the five materials first, and the causes of getting brought in there. The sixth one, the materials first and causes of getting brought in there, and conclusion. I will try to present regarding the time you gave me. Introductions, actually in Buddhism, we strongly believe that the resource of actions, whether good or bad actions, and the existence of the hare and heron. When we die, definitely based on the action, the resource of action, we will get reversed on there because of the influence of the actions. In Majjhima Nikaya Mulapanasa, they talk about the mind. They said Chitte Asankilete Sitte Asankilete Sukati Patikankha. When mind is clear and bright, not gloomy, and state of happiness is destination, they said. And the opposite one, Chitte Sankilete Tukati Patikankha, that when the mind is gloomy, not clear and bright, the state of unhappiness is destination. This is our destinations when our mind is not clear, when our mind is clear also. Two main places we will get to rebirth. That means there's dissolvable and undissolvable. What is the dissolvable and undissolvable? That's in Temi Bhugatadi explained clearly about this place. When the people die, they get the rebirth. The authors of the Te Phumikatha, his name is the King Litai. Who was the King Litai? King Litai is the king of Sukhothai Kingdom. Sukhothai Kingdom is the ancient kingdom of Siam. His official name was Mahadhammarāja first. Actually, he has strong in Buddhism and studied Buddhism seriously until he expert in the scriptures, whether Tipitaka, Atthakatha, including the Dika and Pakalana Visesa. And as we know that he is expert in Sanskrit and Pali also. He authorized the Te Phumikatha because he want to teach the Dhamma to his mothers, and he want to develop a knowledge about the Abhidhamma, or we call the ultimate truth. This is the others. What does it mean of Te Phumikatha? Te Phumikatha is I try to put the Thai meaning that means Thai Phum, Thai Phumi, or Thai Phum, or the three places. In Sanskrit, we call Te Phumikatha. This means they talk about the three words. In English language, the three words by King Luang. That's authorized by the king, his name Luang. This is Buddhist literature's work of Thai in 14th century. They said considered as one of the oldest surviving work of Thai literatures. And recently, this book had a strong influence to societies. And you can see if you go to some monastery, they put the mullahs on the walls or painting on the wall for the people who realize about the Taipumikata or Taipupalum talk about the three worlds of the human being will be reborn in there, and the more important realize the people for the people to realize about the good action and bad action and qualify the mind. The three worlds, they said three worlds. We will get liberals on the three worlds based on the actions, whether good or bad actions. When we because of the action, they says we will get liberals in the 31 realm. 31 realm, including in conclude in 3 realm, the 3 worlds. So anyway, based on ons of the realms based on our actions, whether good or bad action. And as you see in the claw of Buddha teaching, we said they said sapapapasa akalanang kusalasu pasampatajat sajitabliyo tapanam. That means prevent from bad deed, accumulating good deeds and purify the mind. 3 words concludes 3 of the core Buddha teaching. Let's see how to include in 3 core of the Buddha teaching. Traipumi 3 words classify in the universe into main 3 main words. The first is the sensual world. The second we call the form world, and the third we call the formless world. Actually, each of the worlds have the sub world. I will start with the first one, then the second one, then the third one. For the first one, so many sub the world, including regarding the sensual world. What is the first one? The first one, sensual world, and the first realm of the universal. It says there are 11 realms classified into 2 main groups. They said first the mystery world, then the other one, the human and human world. So the first one include in the first one we call the realm of mystery. There are 4 realms of mystery. The second one we said the realm of human being and the heaven, 6 realms of the heavens. All the sensual worlds because of 5 senses. They said 5 senses. That means when you see the form, when you hear the sound, when you smell, when we taste, when we touch. That's because of that we get rebirth in there, and because of that, these are to communicate with us. These are to commit whether good deed or bad deed. So for mystery worlds, actually the mystery worlds they divided into 4 main realms. First, they said the realm of the willful state, or we call the health. Actually, the locations of the health, this says under our human world. They said the second one, the realm of animals kingdom. The third one, the realm of hungry ghosts, and the fourth, the realm of the host demon. What's about the first one, the realm of the health? Actually, in the term of the health, they classify into 8. For example, the first one's Sanchi Vita Nalaka. Nalaka is mean the health. Actually, I'm not sure whether I have the time to explain each of them or not. The second one, Katasuta Nalaka. Katasuta Nalaka. This one is mean they put the mark on the bodies of the being because they want to shop regarding the marks, the black mark. They said Sankata Nalaka. Sankata Nalaka is mean for those who were cast and the smart. This mean they put two sides of the lock and put the being at the middle of the lock and catch the being. The first one, Lovaka Nalaka. Nalaka is mean the being try to find out the refugee from burning because they try to run away from burning. The fifth one, Mahaluvaka Nalaka. This means clear screaming here. This means it's like the fourth one, but it's a more serious one. The sixth one, Tapanalaka. Tapanalaka is mean burning fire for the being. The seventh one is Maha Tapanalaka. Is like the sixth one, but serious one, more serious than. The eighth one, Maha Nalaka. Sorry, Maha Nalaka. This means they said this is the great hell for being. That means the being was burned in the burning oven. They said this is the eighth hell. What is the cause of the people who get rebirth in this? Because of immoral rules of mind, lopadosa moha, and because of the lopadosa moha motivate the being, motivate the action. So there's been 10 unwholesome action, bodily unwholesome action, verbal unwholesome action, mental unwholesome action. And the third one, modeling parents, modeling Arahanta, injuring Buddha, the creating the scheme symptoms in the Sangha. So all these, that's the cause of the people to get rebirth in the hell. The realm of animals, they classify in 4 kind of animals. First, born of the egg, Antasha, we say, for example, the bird and chicken. Born from the womb, for example, Chalapusha, human being, elephant. The third one, born moisture, because Sangse Tasha, for example, born in the rotten fish, and the fourth one born spontaneously, Upapatika, for example, devas or the god Samhangiklos. What is the cause of the being was born in the animal kingdom? They said, this is not human being, sorry, this the animal kingdom, this, sorry. The cause of being born in the realm of animal kingdom, the lack of the virtues, that's mean the precept, holding the wrong views. The wrong views mean they don't believe in the actions, the result of action, don't believe in the existence of the hell and the heaven. And the second one, the behaving like an animal, believing like an animal, that means they don't take care of their parents, don't love their battles, don't always continues doing the bad deeds. So the lamb of hungry clothes, what does it mean hungry clothes? Hungry clothes is mean the being, the ghost of the being who always wondering to find out something for fulfill the sensual fulfill. Actually, they don't have the place to stay, but they're always wandering. Hungry clothes available in various places, for example, in the middle of the oceans, the top of the mountain, and even in the mountain. The cause of the cause of the people who was born in hungry clothes, that's because of the lack of the virtues, holding the wrong views and the 10 unwholesome actions. The realm of the host demon. Host demons is one of those that goes his face under the levers, they said. So his body and his appearance very ugly. They said in Tepumi Katradi explained about the appearance of the host of the demons, that very thin, his body, their body very thin. They lead the toes, and they have the eyes as small as the eyes of the cow situated in the top of their head. They said their flesh are ugly, their stomach and etc. Like this. That I can say that the host of the demons is very gross and very ugly. But compared with the hungry clothes and compared with the being who was born in the hell, they're different, because the being was born in the hell who cannot ask for the bliss from the human being or the dana from the human being. But the hungry clothes can, or we call the beta, can ask for donation from the human being, from the relative. The cause of being born in the realm of the host of the demons, they said because of the 10 unwholesome actions. For example, bodily unwholesome actions, verbal unwholesome actions, and mental unwholesome actions. For bodily unwholesome actions, for example, killing. Verbal unwholesome actions, for example, false speech. Mental unwholesome actions, for example, wrong views and ill views. So these realms, including in the first realm, the sensuous realm, consists of 2: the realm of the human being and the heaven. What's about the being? Being or human being, they classify into 4 human beings. You can observe the human being in the roles, whether correct or not correct. They said first, human being like a Manusa, Nilayaka. They are like a hell's being. that suffer, they suffer pain, they sadness, anguish. The first one. The second one, manusa petos, is like angry clothes because they are really hungry. They don't have anything to eat. And the more important, but still they have the ugly figures and appearance. The third one, manusa tilachano, is like an animal. Why? Because they do not serve their parents, serve the teachers, do not love their brothers or veterans, generalists and continually doing evil. The last one of the human being, manuso. This is they are fully human being. They know what is the life, what is the wrong. They know how to prevent from the bad, how to accumulate the goods. They know what is the malicious. That's the three kinds of the human being on the human world. So the cause of being born in the realm of human being, that is a resource of malicious actions or karma. The second one, develop of the virtues, that's precept, and the wisdom that drive you. The heavenly realm, one of those dissolvable worlds. There are 6 heavenly realms. 6 heavenly realms, they said, be chanting Dhammacakka Pavatana Sutta, the lamb of the 4-faced king, the lamb of the 33 Deva or Tawatingsa heaven, the lamb of the Yama Deva or the free of all Divi countries, Yama heaven, the lamb of the content Deva or Tusita heaven, the lamb of the Devas who rejoice their own creations, that's minority heaven. And the 6th one, the lamb of the world who lost over the creation of the other, Palanimittavasavati heaven. This is the sensuous form the being was born based on the good actions or bad action. So the second, the cause of being born in heaven's realm because of change for some action, generosities, development and virtues and wisdom, or the right views. So this is because the first sensuous form that where the being was reborn was based on the good actions or bad actions from the previous life. The second world we call the form or the 5 material world. There are 6. This is different from the sensuous worlds because this one there are 6 lamps of this world, but two essential, 2 necessary conditions for those who will be reborn on this world. First, meditation, and the second one, the result of meditation. Meditation, that means you practice meditation, concentrate on physical sensation until you get jhana or absorption. There are 4 rupashana or 4 shana. First absorption, second absorption, third absorption, and fourth absorption. Each of them influence you to get the different realm of 5 material form. Sorry. For the first absorption, if you practice meditation until you get the result of meditation to get the first absorption, you will be reborn in the 3 realm. 3 realm, or we call the Mahabrahma world. Mahabrahma world, 3 worlds because of the first absorptions depend on the qualities of the absorption. For example, minor absorption, middle absorption, and the great absorption or excellence absorption. So this is the 3 worlds. For the lamp of the servant, you will rebirth in the servants of the Mahabrahma, advisor of Mahabrahma, and the great the Mahabrahmas. That's because of the qualities of absorption. The second absorption, if you got the result of meditation, and until you get the second absorption, you get rebirth on the 3 lamp also. But the difference one is that this one, the being who was born in there, who have the qualities with the luster. The luster, different luster based on the qualities of the absorption. First, the minor absorption that you will have the limit lusters. The medium absorption, you will get rebirth in there with the infinite lusters, and the third one, you will get rebirth in there with the radius luster. That because of the luster different from the first channel. The third absorptions, you will get rebirth if you got the resource of the meditation, especially the third absorptions or jhana, you get liberate in the three lamb. This is one different from the previous one. That's auras, but based aura, whether limits or infinite or the great auras depend on the qualities of absorption. For example, on the lamp of the Brahma with limits auras because of the minor absorption, the minor stage of absorption. Sorry. The second one, the lamp of Brahma with infinite auras because of the medium strength of absorption. The first one also, the strength auras because of the excellent strength of absorptions that they're different. For the first one, like the Brahma in general. The second one, the Brahma, Mahabrahma with the luster. The third one, Mahabrahma with the aura. The fourth absorption is very special from the previous one. Those who practice meditation until to get the list of meditations, until to get the fourth jhanas, will get liberated on the seven lamb. Seven lamb they classify into two. For the first one, this means the lamb of the Brahma with abundant. This means abundant reward. That vihatapala. The second one, asanjitasa satta, on the realm of the non-perception being. The subsequent, this means five pure abodes or five pure the place. That means for those who practice meditation until attain the akana, the noble peoples, the third noble people, that means anagami, to get liberated in the from the 23 to 27. They said the realm of the Brahma who do not fall from the possibility. That means the force of the fear of the strongest. They said the second one, the realm of the Brahma who are the silent perseverance is the stronger. That means the fourth strongest. They said another one, the realm of the Brahma who are beautiful body form, mindfulness, really strong. The realm of the Brahma who are clear sight, concentration very strong. And the last one, the realm of the highest supreme Brahma, wisdom very strong. That means for those who got the resource of meditation, that means full jhana will be lead to, as I explained. The last world that's in material world is like the previous world, the five material world, because it's concerned about meditations and the concerns about the resource meditations. And for this world, those who will be reborn on this world have to get the experience of the four five material world and to this to Alupachan also. Or we can say the Lupachan and Alupachan. This is Alupachan, the formless realm. They said four formless realm belong to those who attain Alupachan, formless absorption. Previously, form absorptions. Previously, after having experience of full Lupachan. So three worlds of those who was born in there. First, they said the realm of infinite space. The first formless absorption meditation. They said the second one, the realm of infinite consciousness. The second realm, formless absorption meditation. The third one, the realm of nothing, or the third formless absorption meditation. The fourth one, the last one, the realm of the neither perception nor non-perception. That's actually Pali language available in there. You can study from there. So,
Prajan, you have 3 minutes more to wrap up your speech.
Yes.
Please.
Okay. These conclusions. Thank you about it for being able to run me. So I can conclude that the Thai literature, Thai Buddhist literatures can give us the necessary or important about the main teachings, the main Buddha teachings. First, indicators believe in the good actions or the bad actions. The second one, belief in the resource of an action. The third one, belief where to get liberals. The fourth one, they want to do in accordance with the main core Buddha teaching, that's been driven from the bad actions, accumulating good action, and purifying the mind. So I can say that Thai Prumikathas or Thai Pumpaluans, that the king who authorized that to run the peoples to realize about good action, bad action, try to prevent from the good action, try to prevent from the bad action, accumulate the good action, and the more important, purify the mind. For like you can see for the first one, sentience firm, that for the ones of the people who have to prevent from the bad action, accumulate the good action. From the second verse, the verse of the five materials world and the formless world. So for those who concerned about meditations and get the resource of meditations, and we will get rebirth on that world. So essentially, in many Thai art and many monasteries that they put the murals or the painting on the wall to warn the people who come to monastery to realize about the good, bad, and good action and bad action, and how to purify the mind, how to get rebirth on this world. Thank you so much, Venerable.
Thank you very much, Venerable Professor Dr. Pratmaha Sampong, for your great contributions on the topic. You have given us a glimpse on how the rebirth taking place according to the Buddhist perspective. I feel that you like us, especially you also share with us a very resourceful information of how three Bhumikatha have expounded on the topic. And thank you very much, Venerable Sir. And I would like to remind all the participants that if you have any questions, please wait until the end of the session, or you can just write down and inbox me, then I can pass it to the speakers. And your speech is very significant, especially when it comes to the term of the similarities between the two kingdoms, Cambodia and Thailand, because these two kingdoms always have their own kings. As a Buddhist, and some of them are very erudite and expert on Buddhism, especially the author of the three Bhumikatha. Yes, now let's move from Thailand to Cambodia, and we have no, not to Cambodia, sorry. We move from Thailand to Laos. So here with us we have Venerable Dr. Hongsa Buribun, the Deputy General Director of Committee for Sangha Foreign Affairs of Central Buddhist Fellowship Organization of Laos PDO, and the lecturer of Ong Tu Sangha College, Vientiane, Laos PDO. So the most venerable Dr. Hongsa Buribun is gonna talk on the influence of Buddhism on Laos culture. Whenever, Doctor, please, the screen is yours. You have 25 minutes to share with us your perspective on the topic, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Venerable, the chair of the meeting. Today, I would like to thank you very much for inviting me to join the conference, International Conference on Buddhism in Southeast Asia. We are all a Buddhist country, so I would like to respect all Venerable and participants to join our conference, International Conference today. Today, I have one topic. My topic is the influence on Buddhism in Lao culture and Southeast Asia. So before we go to my topic, may I share my screen to all of you. Yeah, we start from International Conference on Buddhism in Literature of Southeast Asia. Now, the university, the President University in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, they host this conference. My topic today would like to present is the influence of Buddhism on Lao culture and in Southeast Asia also. Before I go to the main of topics, I would like to share you about my vision today. I will share you about, in brief, Buddhism in Laos, Buddhism and ancient Lao nation. And I will share you the way to study Buddhism. And my topic is the influence on Buddhism in Lao culture. The Buddhism we play to Lao arts, Lao language, Lao architecture, and Lao tradition. How to that will be, we go into together to see that. I will share you about Laos. Where is Laos? Because very people all around the world, they don't know, because Laos is a really small country. Officially, the Lao People's Democratic Republic, or Lao PDR, is located at the Northern Peninsula of Southeast Asia, also share the border with China to the north, Myanmar to the northwest, Thailand to the west, Cambodia to the south, and Vietnam to the east. Before, Laos be known as the land of a million elephant. Yes, for the century. How we know the Lao? Lao also on the Asian. Lao People's Democratic Republic formally joined the Association of Southeast Asian Nations on 23rd July 1997 and become to the association. We go to about Buddhism, and also according to my topic today, the spread of Buddhism from his motherland. We know the Buddhism is have born in India. During Buddha's lifetime, Buddhism gained a significant foothold in India. Emergence of the hundreds of the monastery further spread in the message of Buddha in India before and nowadays in Southeast Asia. Expansion of Buddhism increased with the acceptance in 3rd century BCE by Indian Emperor Asoka, as we know, the very important king. Spread towards to Burma or Myanmar, to Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, or we call Suvarnabhumi. That's the Asoka king sent to Buddhist monk missionary like Utsona and Uttaratela. So from that time, in the Southeast Asia, we have practice on Buddhism. By 6th century, BCE spread to Nepal, Sikkim, Tibet, Mongolia, China, Japan, and South Korea. Now, I would like to brief the Buddhism in Laos. The Lao People's Democratic Republic, or Lao PDR, is a Buddhist country, as we know. More than 85% of population are Buddhist. Yeah, and characteristic of Buddhist is Theravada Buddhism. When the Buddhism was introduced to Laos, since the great King Asoka, who sent the Buddhist missionary under the leadership of Sona and Uttara to spread the Buddhism to Suvarnabhumi for propagation of Buddhism after the Third Buddhist Council in India and the time of King Phangom took brought Buddhism from Cambodia to Laos. From that time, Lao people practice and believe in Buddhism nowadays. Nowadays, the present time, Buddhism in Laos, the name of organization of Lao Sangha is the Central Fellowship Organization of Lao PDR and consists in 5 subcommittee and 1 office. The first one is the headquarters office. Number 2 is the the Central Administration Committee. Third one is the Buddhism Education Committee. The 4 is Propagation of Buddhism Committee. Number 5 is the Construction and Welfare Committee. And number 6, the Sangha Foreign Affairs Committee International. This is the consist of 5 subcommittee of Lao Central Buddhist Fellowship Organization. The Supreme Patriarch Sankarasa, or the president of the Sangha of the Central Buddhist Fellowship Organization of Lao PDR, is the leader of the whole Sangha of the Lao People's Democratic Republic. Before Buddhism and ancient Lao nation. According to the history of Buddhism in Laos, Buddhism as the national religion of Laos. Buddhism and the Lao nation very closely. The culture and civilization have been influenced deeply by Buddhism. Buddhism played a very important role in the daily life, like manners, culture, education, and nature of Lao nation. How we do study Buddhism, or how we study Buddhist. Here there's some mention, or some reason for how we do study Buddhism. The first one, Buddhism is our religion and is therefore a vital part of our life. It's given us an identity and inextricably related us to one of the most powerful civilizing force in the history of mankind. So therefore, we should study Buddhism. The second one, Buddhism is one of the most important source of world civilization which impose the strongest and widest influence on humanity at large, like regards with respect by the intellectual throughout the world. The third, Buddhism is the religion that elevate man and give him totally different dimension. We learn how to rise beyond animal instinct, find satisfaction in the spiritual realms, make our life more meaningful than its world would be without the religion. Therefore, Buddhism constitutes the most scientific and practical teachings, and that is why more and more knowledgeable people are returning toward it. The Dhamma help them who is study there to study, practice, and believe in it. Those who believe him become enlightened and free. The number 5, Buddha give the countless discourses of the people. These discourses contain very available advice and practical guidance which can be applied to our everyday life. And last one of how do we study Buddhism? The basic is the Buddha said that one can share the Dhamma only when one has studied Buddhism or study it. On Buddhists should consider their duty not only practice the religion, but also teach each other. This is we find some reason of how to study Buddhism. Here in my topic, would like to say today the influence of Buddhism on Lao culture. Buddhism in Laos is the Theravada tradition. Buddhism is a unique version of Theravada Buddhism and at the basis of the Egypt's Lao culture. Buddhism has deep influence on the Lao nation as a whole. The Lao people of the life of Lao people and their thoughts and belief, its influence can see in all sphere of life and activities in agriculture, painting, and sculpture, in manner and speech, in language, tradition, and entertainment, arts and ceremony. And in all other forms of Lao culture, the Lao people faithfully embrace Buddhism and also put it into the practice. Buddhism had strong roots in Laos. It played a great influence on Lao culture, like play in Lao arts, Lao language, Lao architecture, and Lao tradition. I would like to share you about Lao arts. Lao art is the basis on Buddhist arts. We have seen the example of the Lao arts from the fresco of the temple at Wat Siket in Vientiane, the capital of Laos, and the temple in Luang Prabang, province in the north of Laos. The several of Buddhist temples have the Lao arts, the original of Lao arts. The formula beautiful painting on the wall of the several Buddhist temple taught out the kingdom and painting concerning with Jataka, the previous birth of the Buddha. That's the Lao arts also we see on the many temple, Buddhist temple. And the Buddhist plays to the Lao language, how to play that. The Bali language, which is the language of Theravada Buddhism, Jews. And the beautiful Lao words are derived from the Bali rules. Lao words used in daily life and academics purpose come from the Bali rules. Some foreign scholars say that it is ridiculous that Lao lecturers and students ignore the value of the Bali rules. Lao language we took from the Buddhism, we divide from the two periods. The first is the from Buddhist missionary Sona and Uttara Thera, who took the Buddhism, come to Suvarnabhumi, or we call Suvarnabhumi or we can say that now in Southeast Asia, every Buddhist country in this era, we learn Buddhism and we took the Pali and Sanskrit to our language, like Lao People's Democratic Republic also. We use the Bali from Buddhism every day, like the name of Lao, full name is Sathananarat, Pachatipatai Pasasun Lao. It also took place from Bali. So the Bali is the influence language to from Buddhism to Lao language to the Buddhism term or nowadays. Now we see the architecture from the Laos. Lao architecture also are closely related to the Buddhist architecture. We can see the beautiful Lao architecture as different shrine on spread plaques of monastery. For example, the architecture of shrine of Wat Siket in Vientiane province, Wat Siang Thong in Luang Prabang, province, and Wat Hopakal in Vientiane, and also Wat Simon, and many Buddhist monasteries have really beautiful architecture like the Lao tradition. By the architecture to do the monastery is very, very beautiful. And also this share with the many Buddhist countries in Southeast Asia. Way of life. Lao people's faithful follow the Buddha teaching. This practice results in peace, loving, kindness, and peace loving is the main teaching expressed in Buddhism. Lao people follow Buddha's teaching. The Lao follow this the so-called value on the basis of the Buddha's teaching. Lao become peaceful country without war and religious agitation. It is right to say that as long as the Lao society has adhered to the principle of Buddhism, and so long Lao society is peace in nowadays. Here the tradition. Similarly, Lao religious tradition or basis of Buddhist tradition, we have seen the clear evidence that the ceremony of different festivals of the country consistent with the Buddhist tradition. And in the my presentation, as in other Southeast Asia country, there are some festivals during the years, similarly celebration, and also Buddhism in Laos bring the peace and unity to people, as well as a number of festivals which are based in the agricultural work in the year. These are some festivals during the year celebration in Laos and Southeast Asia, Buddhist country also the making the festival the same, such as we know about this the Bun Kawe. Yeah, I will share you about the festival. Bun Kawe also making in January at different days, different village, the commitment, different days, and commemorates the story of life of the Buddha in one of his previous incarnation, we call Vesantara. Vesantara, also every Buddhist country like Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, or another country also have this festival also. That's the festival also the influence of Buddhism. We can say that. This story of Buddha life is just the before he discovered the secret of enlightenment and become the Buddha later. So we call Vesantara festival. We take different. That's the festival we share. The second one, I would like to share you about the festival in Laos or Southeast Asia, Makabusa. Makabusa ceremony, or in Laos, also we can Bun Khao festival, also we said it. Held in the night on full moon of the third lunar month, somewhere towards the end of the February. In this festival, commemorate the first sermon of the Buddha, and the Makabusa, the venerable known as the Maka is the day, is the month of the lunar, the third lunar month in ancient Indian Jews calendar. So the Makabusa means the worship. The Makabusa means the worship. We worship in the month, in the third month of Maka. It is also known as the day of the fourfold assembly, like the Buddha said to the 1,250 monks in the Veluwana park in Laskit in Pihan state in India. There's the Buddha preached the Dhamma to his disciples. Do not do everything good and do not think it's bad and make our heart is good. That's the mention of the Makhapusa ceremony, or in Lao also called Bun Khaji, together in the full moon month of third month. Also, this festival in Lao, the festival consists of parades of the worship, bearing candle, scurrying around local temple, offering the alms foods to the monk in the morning, and some monastery is open the music and chanting in the morning. This festival make in the March, the harvest festival. Next, we know Bun Pimai. We know Bun Makhabusa Day, and we know Bun Pimai Lao. Bun Pimai Lao or Lao New Year, one of the important celebration occur in April or last several days. The Lao New Year, which is celebrates among other things, and the tour of the water on of sunrise symbolize the washing away of the sin and a new beginning. The festival also involves washing the Buddha statue, face, visiting family, and go to temple to offer food to Buddhist monk, and chanting and singing. We celebrate the Pimai of New Year. This in Southeast Asia country also we joy. We have this festival, but different date. But I think in the same month in our area, Southeast Asia.
Rajan, you have 3 more minutes to go.
Okay, so next we have Visakha Busa. We know that we reach around the Buddha birth, enlightenment, and passing away. After Visakha Busa, I would like to share you one Bun of Pansa. Also, we just live from the end of Buddhist Bun of Pansa. After Bun of Pansa, we have Katina festival, or we know that the rope offerings. This every country Buddhist monk have to join. This month also the period of Katina time. The people faithfully in Buddhism and go to monastery to offer the robe to monk. And most important of Laos festival is That Luang festival. Lao is the great place of learn about Buddhism, as Lao culture is mainly based on Buddhist enemies tradition, on of main event in the religious of life. For Lao people is the Bun That Luang festival, which is the held in Vientiane in November. November is coming up in the future. The full moon of 12 lunar month is cater thousands of people from all over country, as well as visitors, to join and pray and chanting in That Luang festival is very important, the symbol of Lao. This I will share you on of the influence on Buddhism on Lao culture. Here finally to my topic today, I would like to thank you very much for the organizer, Cambodia and Embassy of India to Cambodia to holding this international conference of Buddhism in Southeast Asia. And would like to thank you very much for the chair conference now and participant on of you. I would like to success on our international conference. Thank you. Thank you very much.
ขอบคุณมากพระอาจารย์มาจากสาธารณรัฐประชาธิปไตยประชาชนลาว I can hear this word very well, even though I don't know Lao. So we see a lot of similarities with the language. If you allow me to translate this term into Cambodian, we say Sathiranarat Prajithapatai Prajijun Lao. This is what the similarities does exist in the Southeast Asia countries. And thank you very much for your resourceful information. It allows us to understand more and better about how Buddhism is practiced in Laos. And especially you see a lot of similarities like the Jataka, Vesantara, and the term Bun, we call in Cambodia Bon, in Thailand Bun, and Makapucha, and all these kind of similarities that exist in these three countries. And thank you very much once again, Venerable Sir, for your great contributions and very wonderful presentation. And next, let's move from Lao PDR to the Kingdom of Cambodia. And on the panel, we have Venerable Pret Maha Sume Thawong, Dr. Sokbunthun, the Chief of the Section of Higher Buddhist Education and Postgraduate Studies Education of Cambodia. So the Venerable Doctor is gonna touch upon the topic on Buddhist contributions in Khmer literatures. Without further ado, I would like to give the screens to the Venerable Sokbunthun, please.
Thank you, Venerable Chair. And first of all, I pay my homage to the Triple Gems. My respect to the most venerable man, Dharma friends, scholars, and researchers, and would like to say good morning, Her Excellency Dr. Tivijani Koprakiet, Indian Ambassador to Kingdom of Cambodia. I'm very pleased to and very appreciative to the organizer, both President Raja, the big university, and Indian Embassy to Cambodia to organize the meaningful conference that give us the opportunity to see each other and share our experience about Buddhism in the region in Southeast Asia. I have one topic that share with all of you that talk about Buddhist contribution in my literature. Actually, I have a slide, but I cannot insert it. Maybe have a technical problem, and so I present by oral in order to share with all of you. Before I go to detail my topic, I would like to show my content will be presented. Have only 6 parts. The first one, introduction, and second one, present you about the Buddhist text, and the third one, the aspect of the Khmer literature. The fourth one, the period of Khmer literature. The fifth, Buddhist contribution in Khmer literature, and the role. And the last one is conclusion. So I start from my introduction to show the background of Buddhism at the Buddha time until the present day. We all know the history of Buddhism appeared since 6th century BC, before Christ, to the present day, starting from with the birth of Sattadhamma Gautama in the ancient Indian time with what is now Lumpini, Nepal. Nepal, in 2010, when I was invited to join the Buddhist conclave, I went to visit there. It's very beautiful places for our Lord Buddha who was born there. In 2002, His Excellency U Thant also want to visit there, and it was accepted as the Buddhist heritage in the UN by UNESCO. Look back to the background of the Buddha. He was born with a family in Sakya in 563 BCE, before Christ era. And after becoming an ascetic and sitting in meditation, he discovered the path of moderation away from the extreme of self-indulgence and motivation for middle path. When we talk about the middle path, it reminds me to the kind of religion in this world. I think there are only three religions based on the perspective. The first one, the self-indulgent religion, and the second one is modification religion, and the third one is the middle path, referred to Buddhism. Siddhartha attained enlightenment, we all know, under poetry known as the year today. That is international heritage site in Buddhism that all pilgrims around the world, Buddhists always go to visit there. It's very important place. We can say historical Buddha places in the world. Through his enlightenment, he was known as Buddha. That means that one who knows everything in the universe, or one who perfectly self-awakened. It means that he awake from the ignorance, not only for himself, but also he illuminate the wisdom, his wisdom or his teaching to the world. And after his enlightenment, the Buddha received patronage of King Buddhist Emperor. King Buddhist accepted Buddhist his personal faith and allowed establishment of many temples in the country. We know at the Esapatana Meditative one near Varanasi, called the Deer Park. In India, Lord Buddha breathed Dharma, the will of Dharma, the Pali term Pamajapavatana Sutra, delivering his first sermon to the group of the 5 companions. Then the triple gem was formed. Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha existed in the world. The Buddha is the greatest spiritual leader that the world call him the spiritual leader. The Dharma is the natural doctrine or the universal law to command all individual at all times, proclaimed by the Buddha. And the Sangha is the community of believers, followers of the monastic community of the monks. At that time, I remember one word that a religious scholar called the Buddha, that he is the monastic leader or the monk leader. That is the new one after he get enlightenment. For the remaining time after he get enlightenment, he traveled to promote his teaching in Gangetic Plain of the northeastern India and other group, other region to promote his teaching. We all know Dhamma Vinaya or the Buddha's teaching promote rapidly
Venerable sir, you please unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry. Not only in Southeast Asia, but also the Hellenic and Western world. During the Ashoka region, the reign of the Ashoka, he is very well known king who believed Buddhism after the Buddha attained the Nirvana. This is the background that I want to share with all of you in order to combine with the perspective with the Buddhist take or scripture. Number two that I want to share with all of you that talk about the Buddhist take. Buddhist scripture are the religious take. There are a lot of kinds of Buddhist take in this context. I would like to divide it into 5 categories. One, Tribedot, the canon. The second is Atthakatha, commentary. The third one, Deka, sub-commentary. The fourth one, Anubhika, commentary on the sub-commentary. And the fifth, the document were written by the author, the religious scholar, that was pulled from the canon, Anubhika, etc. Private, we all know, is the Buddhist canon. First inscription called Pali and was inscribed in 433 Buddhist era. It means before Christ era. They were the first text initially passed on orally by Buddhist monastics, but later written down and composed as manuscript in various Indo-Aryan languages such as Pali, Kantari, and Buddhist hybrid Sanskrit, and collected into Buddhist canon. Sutra, discourses, Vinaya, discipline, and Abhidhamma, the ultimate truths. They were then written down and translated into other languages. Memorizing, reciting, copying, were spiritually valuable by Buddhist institution and then copied them by hand to the spiritual practice. In effort to preserve description, Asian Buddhist institutions were the forefront of the adoption of Indo-Aryan languages. So the Theravada commentary literature was attributed to the scholar, such as Venerable Purukosaja in the 5th century BC, 5th century CE, prior era. Venerable Thamapala, much of which is still untranslated. Let it be related to the word for commentary about Pali or Tribedot is the second inscription called Atthakatha or Vandanir. Commentary or narration. It was inscribed in 956 BC. Number C, the word for commentary about Atthakatha is the third inscription called Deka, sub-commentary. It was inscribed in 1587 BC. The word for commentary for Deka is the fourth inscription called Anubhika, commentary on sub-commentary. It was inscribed in the year later. The last one for the text, Buddhist text, is called document were the text written down by the religious scholar. Like Cambodia, other country in Southeast Asia and in the world, there are number of kind of books, religious, non-religious books were written by the scholar, remain in Cambodia today. Let me move to the aspect of the Khmer literature. According to the inscription in the 13th century on the edict of Ashoka expressed that in the region of, in the reign of the Ashoka, 260 to 280 BC, he sent his missionary to the Golden Peninsula, Southeast Asia, at that time Mon Khmer. Mon referred to Myanmar in the present day. Khmer referred to the Kingdom of Cambodia today. The other sources cited that two venerable monks, Sonathera and Uttarathera, were sent to this region and having been cancelled in 274 BC at Palipatra city of the Ashoka, India. The mission were important and remarkable events that revealed that Buddhism existed in Southeast Asia for a long time. Buddhist teaching is intersected with its existing tradition and literature. Buddhist literature is influenced from Theravada Buddhism and universalized in the country in Southeast Asia. My literature, like the most Asian national literature, has very ancient origin to distinct aspect level. I would like to summarize. There are two kinds. The first one, the oral literature. It's based on the local folklore, and it was influenced by Buddhism as a predominant religion in Cambodia. The second one, the written literature, it mostly restricted to the royal court and Buddhist monastery. This is the kind of the Buddhist literature. I would like to brief only two kinds. In order to save the time, I would like to move the number 4 for my presentation, that talking about the period of my literature. Until 21st century, most vernacular literature were composed and known in Cambodia, including literature intended primarily for entertainment, articulated Buddhist saying concern cosmology, history, biography of the Buddha, education, build awareness about society, custom, tradition. For the Khmer literature is generally divided into the following period, but according to the historian, they can divide it into 4 to 5, but in the field of literature, I would like to divide it into 3 periods of my literature. The first one called the ancient period. The ancient period referred to 2 periods combined together, pre-Angkorian period and Angkorian period with each other. Since the beginning of the territory and territory formation until 7th century of Buddhist era, Khmer did not have script for record yet, but Cambodia began to have a specific history since the 1st century prior era. Until 2nd century of the Khmer era, Khmer had the script. to record the historical event through inscription that the historian always based on the inscription at the Angkor Borai, Samarangsan, and so on. And the appearance of writing was used, the old Khmer languages. I would like to mention that Khmer have its own Khmer languages for a long time. And then Khmer received Pali and Sanskrit combined together that have specific symbol in Khmer literature. Khmer alphabet was described from the Brahmi script ancient of India. After Khmer received Buddhism and Brahman, Khmer received Brahmi languages to combine with the old Khmer language that we call antiquity. The oldest inscription in Khmer found the Angkor Borai, Akai province, date from 611 600. And Khmer script verse 10, the earliest writing system used in Southeast Asia. This is based on the inscription and researcher and the history. In the 9th century, it was the time that Khmer became Khmer Empire. The historian used Khmer Empire to refer Cambodia from 9th to 15th century, when the nation was Hindu and Buddhist empire in Southeast Asia. At the end of 12th century, in the reign of Jayavarman VII, the style of body of Khmer were angled, the testimony of the antiquity of Khmer languages is multitude of epigraphic inscription at stone. The first written books that have allowed the history of Khmer Empire to be reconstructed are those inscriptions. And we have did some research that found that Khmer writing have two kinds. The first one, round style of Khmer script, and the second one, oblique style of the Khmer script. The round Khmer script is a script for inscribing, writing religious document as Pali language sacred document. Oblique Khmer script is a script for writing the ordinary document or definition. This is the style of Khmer that Khmer scholar always use. Let me move to the folk tale that based on the same were transmitted orally until the early part of 20th century. One Buddhist writer such as Okya Santhomok, Satan Prajian, and the author of the essay Manual Kapetlok in 1921 began to collect report Khmer oral story. While when the French colonial scholar during the Khmer under the protectorate of the French often critical and fanciful nature of Khmer vernacular words. At that time, we all know the famous scholar, his name is Keng Van Sak, have argued that my writer had been concerned not with literal representation of reality, but rather with representing the moral experience of social life, which is present human being, etc. I would like to show the remarkable that my scholar, especially the journalist in 1926, the journal that my word Cambodia Soria were established in the issue My Culture and Buddhist Culture, written by many my scholar. And in 1913, the Buddhist Institute was established. The important aim of the establishment of the Buddhist Institute is to promote the Khmer literature to other local region. The first one, then second one, to overcome the foreign influence do not come to Cambodia, etc. This is the aim that my scholar established the Buddhist Institute. Besides that, there were also educational expansion created within public gross media or media all facilitate the emergence of Bruce novel in Cambodia in 1930s that we call Tuswat Nam Samsap. The novelists were aimed to challenge dominant the Chinese Vietnamese novel in the street halls. Along with
you have 3 more minutes, please.
Yes, the along work already described in the Khmer Buddhist use vernacular version of canon text by 18th to 19th century. This is summary or some brief that I wanted to show with all of you. And let's move to the value of the Buddhist literature in Khmer society. We have summarized the 5 important values. The first one, the educational value. We all know Khmer literature provides paramount education to Khmer people, especially the youth. The second one, the value of Khmer literature is build character value. It means that mental, verbal, and physical character to be good. The third one, the third value of the Khmer literature is building awareness. You know, Buddhist teaching is the treasury of the wisdom, knowledge, philosophy, and so on. The fourth one, self-confidence building and struggle values. We all know Khmer literature also builds self-confidence, spiritual struggle to overcome the obstacle in our time. The fifth, the role of the Khmer literature is building moral, ethical values. We all know morality is the particular concern and distinction between right and wrong, good or bad behavior. When they say the education from Khmer literature, they can build their morality and keep for their life. The 7th, peace building, the 8th, value of the nationalism and the public service and administrative affair. This is the value of the Khmer literature in Cambodia. So for the last one is my conclusion. In short, Buddhist teaching provided the paramount contribution in Khmer literature, not only Khmer or Cambodia, but also literature of Southeast Asia in general. But in specific, Khmer literature contributed most important perspective, concept, philosophy, and intersected with classical and modern Khmer literature at all multitude of sanctions, and Buddhist contribution continue to appear in literary cultural products of 20th and 21st century. They are closely concerning with Khmer daily life, education, peace, questioning and answering daily problems, building strong commitment to overcome the obstacle, hope for their life, for both this life and next life. This is the role, but the role of the Khmer literature, and this is my conclusion for my presentation about Buddhist contribution in Khmer literature. So thank you so much for giving me the time, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Venerable Dr. Sopwantun, for your rich presentation, and you have touched upon a wide range of the area, starting from the history of Buddhism originated in India and to the aspect of the Khmer literature, especially. You share with us a very priceless value of the literature play a very important role in Cambodian society. Once again, thank you very much, Venerable Sir, for such an awesome presentation. And before we end our session, let us move to Indonesia. Here we have Madame Latifa, lecturer at Kertarajasa Buddhist College, Indonesia. Madame, please talk to us around the issue of inspiring Dhamma. Henry Jane Soliloquy and his Buddhist short stories. I'm very sorry, my pronunciation is not really correct, but it seems, I think that it will be a very interesting topic. So please let us welcome the last speakers of the session from Indonesia, Madame Latifa. Madame, screen is yours, please.
Yeah, can you see my screen, my slide?
Yes, we see your slide. Yes.
Yeah. Good morning, Venerable ladies and gentlemen. Namo Buddhaya. I would like sharing my view of Buddhism literature in Indonesia from a Muslim perspective. Yeah, the Buddha imparted insight through a variety of stories rich in language and symbolism. This tradition of using stories as a source of lesson is still going strong in endeavor to preserve Dhamma, whether through the life story of Buddha Gautama or through Jataka stories. We can learn about Buddhism principle through studying of Buddha's attitude and perspective on life, as well as those of the creature around him. By studying the Buddha's life, Buddha's life history. Further, the Buddha imparted insight through a variety of stories rich in language and symbolism. This tradition of using stories as a source of lesson is still going strong in an endeavor to preserve Dhamma, whether through the life story of Buddha Gautama or through Jataka stories. We can learn about Buddhism principle through studying the Buddha's attitude and perspective on life, as well as those of the creatures around him. By studying the Buddha's life history, we might dwell on tales that center around the topic of Buddha's past existence through Jataka stories. In addition, contemporary literary works are also emerging as a result of contemplation of Buddha's values. We might dwell on tales that center around the topic of Buddha's past existence through Jataka story. Furthermore, contemporary literary works are also emerging as a result of contemplation and Buddha's values. Although not explicitly aimed at stealing Buddha values, Quitek literary works are full of Buddhist perspective. Yulianti, in her paper entitled Jejak Buddhism File Karya Quitek How Bungaros dari Cikembang, Perspective Phenomenology or Traces of Buddhism in Quitek Hoi, novel Bungaros dari Cikembang, Phenomenological Perspective, raised the novel by Kwe Tek Hoi as an early marker of the development of Buddhism in Indonesia in 1930s. The Bunga Ros dari Cikembang novel by Hoi describes the character interest in studying Buddhism, which helped alleviate the situation by clarifying the purpose of life. In this regard, Hoi specifically mentioned Theosophy as an organization with close ties to Buddhism in Indonesia in early 90s. Furthermore, although Bunga Ros Cikembang is not a religious novel, awareness of Buddhism appears in mention of Dewi Kwan Im to describe an enlightened figure. Another phenomenon that Yulianti caught was the idea of karma recognition in his works. As an expression of religiosity, the Buddha then we discussed Joe Priyastana literary works in his poetry published in mass media issues in 1970s. For example, Joe's poem in Satu Buddha, One Buddha reflect the social ethic of Buddhism. The paper entitled Social Ethic One Buddha Poetry by Joe Priyastana shows that his appreciation of the spirit of the Buddha's moral teaching and social ethic as bodhisattva figure who bring enlightenment to the world. His poetry reflects the normative reality and practice of the ethical and moral teaching of Buddha Dhamma in contemporary Indonesia Buddhist society. And then a paper entitled Pergulatan Antara Tradisi Agama and Modern Antropologi Sastra Kumpulan Cerpen Kegelisahan Sang Domba dan Sihir Kaya Bante Dojo, highlighting the problem of the struggle of belief, which is one of the conflict that arise in the works of Biku Atapio, such as Kegelisahan Sang Domba and Sihir or Sorcery. In the context of struggles as young men who question various traditions in local culture and the religion he was born with. Finally, he found the discovery and the way through the Buddha Dhamma. The basis of his various perspective is not only on himself as human being, but also under creature. Previously, he had viewed the spirit with magical nuance in their original place as fertile. After being convinced of Buddha, he found his discoveries with other beings who do not need to be cleansed, but are just through patidana. This arduous path of understanding, discovery, and belief in Buddha Dhamma was the moment of true Bante Donatapio reached his sadar. In addition, Buddhist fiction reflects the appreciation of Dhamma dealing with life problems, both in managing conflict or in effort to build peace in accordance with their context at the individual and social level. Paper entitled Reading Conflict Achieving Peace Dhamma in the Contemporary Indonesian Buddhist Short Story describes the process of developing or hinder conflict. What character needs to be developed to minimize the occurrence conflict within Indonesian Buddha in individual figure or society who live up the teaching of the Buddha and the local knowledge. This study shows that a typical Buddhist conflict resolution that pivot on returning to the internal needs to also be supported by creative effort to improve external condition. The story of the teacher Buddha Gautama teaches that peace doesn't only mean avoiding conflict or discomfort, but instead dares to face unbalanced condition or out of comfort zones for self-transformation even social transformation. In addition to the conflict studied in this study, the intrinsic element focused on another study conducted by Eko Imam Subandrio in his study entitled Nilai Dasa Parami in Antologi Japan Ketika Meta Memilih, or When Meta Choose, written by Henry Wilcox Jan. The value desa param in short story to Henry Wilcox John's works. The result of the anthology shows that through value-forming elements, teen values build themes through developing self-control story about love, moral speech, helping parents, or puja and change, Anika. The plot set in the dominant stories, short story use a flashback plot. The setting in the short story is more inclined to the setting of place and time. The social environment doesn't develop significantly. The main character and additional protagonists are more dominant than the antagonist. Favor to adopt an omniscient he point of view and convey moral message indirectly. The dominant parami value appearing in the 10th poem is Pana Parami, Panya Parami, and then Sila Parami second order. The third order is occupied by Dana and Meta Parami, while the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth sequence are occupied Aditana and Parami respectively. The combination of intrinsic element and the Saparami values when meta choose works develop concretely in everyday life. It makes the values can be adequately internalized. More specifically, Henry F. Jan's story have also been studied from a gender perspective. This short story, Kapan Menyusul, or When is Your Turn, is the when meta choose anthology describes an active woman. However, on the other hand, his picture actually reinforced the stereotype of woman as troublemaker, fussy, and insensitive to other people's feelings. Negative labeling is reinforced by the static antagonist character of the female characters from the beginning to the end of the story. However, in this case, more in-depth study involving more data is needed to see gender representation in a broader sense, not just description of woman physique and character. In broader context, Ngokle's article discuss specifically reviewing Kimberly Bick's research on 7 Buddhist young adult fiction. According to Beck, the religious element of young adult Buddhists in US fictional literature are seen as distracting linguistically in enjoying reading his fiction. In the study of literary reception, Beck used the adolescence growth formula according to Dr. Roberta and growth as negotiation of power and embodiment based on cognitive mapping. According to Beck, this makes the reader less immersed in the storyline with the protagonist to find his development. It's not clear whether the respondents in Beck's study are non-Buddhist or not, so they feel less comfortable with the Buddhist term in the story. Because according to Ngokli, it's based on the less popular and underselling Buddhist young adult fiction literate and compared to Harry Potter, for example, maybe it's reasonable because the market share of good fiction generally for their own people, a special segmented market and not for profit purpose other than sharing Dhamma in thought and experience as in the case in Indonesia. However, Ngokle found an anomaly in the astonishing color of after fiction, which is phenomenal because it is able to reader and sell well, even though it's full of Buddhist values and terms. According to Ngokli, as Beck comments, this work is able to use language as a bridge to the world of his reader. The author is able to make a sympathetic character, relevant contemporary issues, and linguistic bridge. The Buddhism in this fiction is delivered in pleasant language, not preached. Kimberly Beck telling tales out of school, the division of Buddhism. In Buddhism Beyond Border, the new perspective on Buddhism in the United States examine the reception of Buddhist stories narrated inside and outside of ASEAN context by comparing the different reflection of Buddhism in Amit Tan, Asian American novel, The Kitchen Godwife, and Catholic Buddhist-infused novel Beck saw the emergence of Buddhist fiction as extension of the tradition of storytelling in modern times. Obviously, it will play a role in reconstructing the society that the reader imagines. In the context of our study, the question arises, how are Buddhist values presented in Henry F. Jan's short story? And how Henry Jan's work significant in Indonesian Buddhism? This study used a sociology of literature approach with a focus on social context of the author and interviewing the author, Henry Jan. Religion as an intersection in society becomes the social context factor that influences the author as an individual in addition to influencing the context of his literary works, where all of that is also present and represented in the setting of the story. Since this study focused on the work of the author, the data of his study are Buddhist short stories written by Buddhist authors and especially intended as religious literature. The collection of short stories that become the data for this research, asal usul pohon salak or the origin of salak tree, the all tree ghost mystery, and when Meta chooses pindah ke lain hati, data classification carry out with the meaning that prioritized and an open and flexible interpretation. The data that has been classified is analyzed in depth. The interview with Henry Jan strengthens the analytical perspective. Henry Wei Jan was born in Lubuk Linggau, South Sumatra, and now lives in Bandung City, West Java. He became one of the winners of the short story competition held by Young Brotherhood of Mudi Wihara Borobudur, Medan, and with his work entitled A Piece of Story, he has managed Cita and Gema Damakiti magazine in South Sumatra, and Ehi Pasiko Foundation in Jakarta, and then in Indonesia Tipitaka Center in Medan. Then he actively wrote as a contributor in the Berita Vimala Dharma magazine and Buddha Jine. In his activities in various Buddhist media, Henry tries to the interest of writing Buddhist by building various writing communities such as Buddhist Menulis or Buddhist Writing and Buddhist Short Stories community. This community has published several anthologies of Buddhist short story, although the target of the publishing one collection of short story each year hasn't been realized. Henry also initiated the writing Buddhist community through column in the Berita Vimala Dharma magazine. Stories that can be learned are the main requirement for writing in his writing Buddhist community. With his writing activity, the readers not only accepted the teaching, they received through various Buddhist media, which at that time were easily accessible via internet. Readers with various backgrounds can also actively write personal reflection on daily life to understand Dhamma. It doesn't end there. Henry also invited these young Buddhist writers to hone their writing skill by entering the world of fiction through short story in the Buddhist short story community. The world of fiction provides a wider space to convey Dhamma values through fictional character. Volunteers for the Buddhist short story community come from various regions in Indonesia, even abroad such as Japan. After publishing Asal Usul Pohon Salak anthology through penerbit Inside Vidya Sena production, publication in a publisher in Yogyakarta, 2 anthologies of short story were published as a result Komunitas Japan Buddhist Collaboration, which are Ketika Mitang Memilih and a year later, Misteri Penunggu Pohon Tua. This community still exists with the WhatsApp group, even though it's not longer active. Henry John's dream to publish an anthology of Buddhist short story community once every year has also not been realized. However, this condition didn't stop these Buddhist fiction writers. The virtual space of Buddhist media are still lively decorated with story and poetry. The role of literary work as a means of reflecting and expounding Dhamma is still recognized, which can be seen, among other things, through competition. Yeah, so this is one competition held by Dharmasoka Institute. The themes of the short story were the ancestral Buddhist heritage of the archipelago, Buddhism and the teaching of the mind, love, tolerance, and solidarity among the nation, children and human distribution for those who have contributed to us. Furthermore, the criteria for evaluating Buddhist short stories are the originality works of the short story, the suitability of the title with the content of the theme of short story, depiction of the fabric of the story and its beauty, or aesthetic, and the method of Buddhist in short stories. When viewed in terms of theme, it appears that there is a demand for novelty on the theme of Buddhist heritage of the archipelago, which hasn't been found in many Indonesian Buddhist short stories, which still focus more on the values of Buddhist teaching. The characteristic of local variation Buddhist culture haven't been widely described in the setting. This is generally due to background of popular fiction writer who are generally closely related to urban life setting. In addition, related to the assessment criteria, there is also demand to improve the quality literary device, namely the use of instinctual element, intrinsic element of fiction such as plot, character, conflict, story, so that each character as beautiful literary works are clearly visible to so that short story are means of spreading Dhamma can still be distinguished or differentiated from a lecture script or Dhamma Desana. It can be said that Buddhist morality and spirituality values are the most common themes in Henry Jahn's short stories. However, it is the variety of stories and background that make one story different from another, even though the core message is the same. Thus, these Buddhist stories can still be enjoyed from time to time as a friendly reminder and a companion in Dhamma. For example, the basic teaching on the law of karma, what we reap is what we sow, becoming a recurring theme in Henry's works. The teaching on the law of karma can develop according to daily condition with various problems so that it can become a reflection of values. Story entitled Cinta Me 3 in Love 3 anthology underscore the importance of doing the slightest good deed. This sincerity in doing good can then inspire people to become larger universal love movement. With his bicycle, Pak Darmanto, Mr. Darmanto has a habit of going around distributing instant noodle money to people he meets. However, due to his deep sensitivity, he didn't want his help to be a burden or to others. Help the needle turn into.
Madam Latifa, you have three more minutes left, please. Thank you.
Okay, so the people can directly eat them without them to cook. So that's one of the Henry Jahn's story. However, the teaching of love, loving kindness doesn't only show the face Buddhists as a people who are always full of love. The story Catatan Harian Cici Pembina of Diary of Sunday School tells the story of a day of volunteer teaching who received less attention from student parents, if even receive harsh treatment. The socio-economic stratification that prevails at the monastery, where the Buddhist Sunday school is located, makes people loathe his arbitrary attitude. The story also looks realistic by not showing the antagonist instantaneous change in attitude. At least some of the devotees of the monastery finally invites other devotees to pay attention to Buddhist Sunday school volunteer. So I will jump to the conclusion. Writing can be a personal spiritual journey that involves constant reflection and seeking deeper knowledge accompanied by Dhamma practice. For writer or religious literature, this journey can be a lonely journey on a small road. However, writers like Henry are not tired of continuing to share spiritual experience in their morality practice through their fictional character and plot. His fictional stories can come from his own reflection on a passage from the Dhammapada, from the work of his small family, and often from the event of life around him. Henry courage in opening and entering into himself and the surrounding phenomena and then pouring them into short stories not only spreads the great teaching of the Buddha, but the reader can also link them with the social reality of personal problem of Buddhists in Indonesia. Henry admitted that his soliloquy journey with the volunteers of the Buddhist short story community was a long and lonely road. Writing short stories more a hobby and necessity to spread Dhamma in the midst of work and daily routines. Buddhist short story writers are still profession that can guarantee the welfare of the writer. which is different from Islamic literary writers who have been developing for a long time in the Indonesian publishing industry. Even though the activities of Buddhist short story community are currently on hiatus, he is still trying to build a writers network so they can work together in Dhamma. He tries to show alternative ways to continue working in the midst of various obstacles, such as the cost of printing books because of its not commercial nature. Previously, book printing relied more on donation from the people and joint resources from volunteers. Collecting donation of short story script from writer is also not an easy thing. This problem can be solved by publishing an anthology in the form of a book in collaboration with buddhagen.com. Through short story Buddhist stories, Henry invites Kalayanamita to reflect on the Buddha Dhamma in contemporary social realities. With his courage to write this realistically and openly, he has grounded and preserved the teaching of the Buddha Gautama. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Latifa, for your very wonderful presentation on the emergence of Buddhist fictions as an extension of the traditions of storytelling in modern time, especially in the context of Henry Ford. A very nice methodology that the Buddhist teaching can be shared and taught in the Indonesian societies. Such a very beautiful country. I was there one time and I fell in love with the beauty of the islands. Thank you very much for your sharing. And before we end our session, now it comes to the session of Q&A, and I think that Venerable Mahasupong, the Dr. Mahasupong, I saw you exchange questions and answer with the Venerable Geosopia, and I think that the Venerable Geosopia also got this very short answer. And to Venerable Professor Mahasupong, would you like to say something, or is it enough just to share by writing, or you want to say to answer the question to the Venerable Geosopia? Please unmute, Venerable Sir.
Yes, thank you. I think that's really necessarily the questions that I have a chance to share with the others. Actually, to prevent from the bad action and to accumulate the good things and to purify the mind, that's fairly necessary, not only for the Buddhists and for the every people also who would like to stay peacefully inside societies with different faiths. I can say that we can apply to the daily life, especially to prevent the bad deed and to accumulate the good deed. For example, actually in Buddhism, we already learned about the 5 precepts, venerable. 5 precepts really necessarily available to every societies. Every religions also, they also talk about that's one, but they might use the different name. That's why we can, if we want to stay differently with the other peoples inside the society, same societies, 5 precepts that we have to follow. That's 5 precepts talk about how to prevent. That's one, the way to prevent. But to accumulate the good things, so why we have to accumulate the good things? Even though some people, they might say that we prevent already, why we have to accumulate? Yes, we prevent, that means prevent from killing, prevent from stealing, that's we have to prevent. But to accumulate the good thing that we can accumulate the punya or 10 punya kiliya watu, as we say. For example, dana, sila, etc. That's one we have to accumulate. And to purify the mind, we apply 2 kinds of meditations. We already practice, that's one, that's samatha meditation and vipassana meditation. So we can apply that to the daily life if we want to stay peacefully to societies. We develop ourselves and we prevent from the bad things, accumulate the good things, then we purify our mind. That's the way to stay with the other peoples inside society peacefully. Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you very much, Venerable Dr. Mahasupong, for your answer. Are there any other questions? you can inbox, or you can just ask the speaker by yourself directly to the speaker. Or you can raise your hand virtually. I can see it and then I can call you. Any other question? Oh, Pumchuntula, Venerable Pumchuntula, please. Oh, you ask a question? Oh, no.
Question.
You ask a question. Oh, yeah, please. Tell your name. Please tell your name and where you're from, and to the question to whom, please. Okay. Yes, please.
Okay. So, namaskar, all Venerable teacher and everyone here. So, my name is Venerable Pumchuntalam from Prasanna Buddhist University, Battambang, France. I have a question to Venerable Doctor from Laos. I am interested in the committee in Laos, but one is about the construction and well committee. And could you share with us about this role and what does the construction and well committee do in Laos? So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much for question to me. I would like to share about the Committee of Construction and Welfare in Laos. You see, this not our Buddhist monk do the work, but this the control the document when we want to establish the building and the monastery, we have to write the apply to our office to by the Buddhist monk from temple, from village, and to our official like the construction and welfare committee for the Central Buddhist Fellowship Organization. They will do the architecture of the building like the Hotamasapa as behind of my sitting. Also, we have the project or construction of that. This committee control and doing of the monk, how to do the building at the temple and to repair or construct any the own building or everything, including of this committee. Okay, thank you very much for your question.
Thank you,
Yes.
Doctor.
Dola, you certify with the answer? It's okay?
Yes, teacher.
Okay,
actually,
thank you.
would like to
Thank
ask
you.
more, but maybe the time, I think.
Okay, one question next. I'm gonna get questions. Any questions? Okay, Venerable Ariyawangsa from Myanmar or from Ariyawangsa, please. Venerable Ariyawangsa, please.
Hello. My name is Arya Pansa from Myanmar. I have a question for the Ajahn Nabdo, the first speaker. I'd like to note that he mentioned somewhat references Nutiga. It was very later than a Dhammagata. That is why I want to note that Nutiga, before Nutiga, are there any references or any approved that before in the time of the Buddha there was a Dhammagata Tathagata or any other Tathagata in the time of the Buddha? I want to note that. Any other approved, any other reference or something.
Thank you, Venerable Ariyawangsa. Venerable Mahanupudol, Dr. Nupudol, are you there? Maybe no.
Yeah, it's okay, no problem. Because because his reference is Nutiga. Nutiga is later than the Dhammagata Tathagata. That is why a little bit controversial.
Okay. When he joins us, I'm gonna give that question to him. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, then I have one question for Madam from Indonesia. It's very interesting and how skillful and very smart to, you know, to spread Buddhism or to teach Buddhism in the context of storytelling. Do you see any big impact born from that kind of storytelling?
Okay.
What are the impacts?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So actually, the popular Buddhism literature doesn't really popular in the Buddhist apa youngster. Hello. Yeah. So I asked my student, do you know this book? I read it, the story, the books, because I'm outsider of Buddhist, so I need to know about the Buddhist community in Indonesia. So I read the book, but they don't actually know my student in Buddhist college. They don't really know about the short story. But yeah, it's about the book. But when I asked them about the story in buddhagen.com in website, they know the story and the impact. Yeah, they can relate the story with their life, because the story, the setting of the story is they lost with their daily life. It's different with the Jataka and or translation of the story in old setting. Yeah, I think that's the impacts. Is it?
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Venerable Nipodon, are you there? Are you back to the room? Maybe now. So, is there anyone volunteer to answer the question from Venerable Ariyavasa or Venerable Ariyavasa? Would you like to share what your question with us, or just left it there, or yeah? Any other question, please? Now, if not, then I have one question for Venerable Sokbunten. Venerable Sokbunten, are you there? We do have a lot of technical problems. Yeah. Just one question from the chair. You, the speakers for the first session of the conference, and you share a lot of similarities from Myanmar to Indonesia to Thailand to Cambodia. Just my humble questions to you, according to your point of view, do you see any other the united values of Buddhism literature in Southeast Asia born from these similarities?
Yeah, thank you. Before I answer your question, I would add some my presentation. Maybe it missed some important thing because of the time related to the period of the time in my literature that I would add two more. According to the my literature scholar said that my literature is divided into three categories. The first one, ancient time combined with pre-Angkorian time and the Angkorian time that start from first century, 6th century to the 15th. And the second period is called the middle period that start from after the Angkorian time to the 19th century. And the third period is the modern period after Khmer became the protectorate of the French. This is I want to add for my presentation in order to reach or meet the period that I want to add more. And related to your question about the united value of the Khmer literature and other country literature in the regional or in Southeast Asia is the Chiết Đọc. Based on my research, it irrelevant with each other. Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thai, and so on. This is the first one. The second one, it based on the perspective, educational perspective. I think it's not different from that view or perspective because the whole teaching of the Buddha is based on non-violence in the region, not only for our Cambodia, but also the regional country. And when we make comprehensive, it also to the global one. This is the whole teaching of the Buddha that exists in the Chiết Đọc. So the Chiết Đọc, the folk tale, and Panyasastra Chiết Đọc, and Tusa Chiết Đọc, and so on, and especially the whole teaching of the Buddha, I think it's not different because we are the Buddhists and the respect of the Buddha as our father as a whole. This is the same based on the Buddha's teaching. It is the same. It's not different. If there is different, I think it's a little bit. This is the united value of the Buddhist teaching in the literature of Southeast Asia. I think it's not different. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Venerable Sopanthan, for your very significant answer of how the Southeast Asian countries, especially Buddhist countries, share a lot of similarities in Buddhist literature and have a great impacts on their languages, culture, and traditions. And at last, our session came to the end with the word of similarities. And I would like to, I think, before I hand over this session to the housekeeping, I would like to, on behalf of everyone here today, I would like to wholeheartedly thank the speakers for taking the time to speak to us today on the very important topics of Buddhism in literature of Southeast Asia in our webinar seminar. Your presence and wise words help magnify our courses in the best possible way. All thanks and gratitude to your enlightened words that inspire us for the practices to have a better understanding of the topics as seriously discussed. And I thank you, right, Venerable Prat Maha from Thailand, from Laos, from Cambodia, and Madam from Indonesia. And please join hands together and say to and wish all the speakers and participants the best. I wish you good luck, good health, especially please stay positive and taste negatives. Thank you very much, venerable speakers and Madam. And I would like to hand over this session to Venerable Samad to take over. Please, Venerable Samad.
Thank you so much. Many Kusal, Dr. John Sengjit, Director of Jesús Buddhist University, for your facilitating of this panel discussion for this whole morning. And our program will post at this time at 11 a.m. and we will continue this afternoon at 1 a.m. Yeah, so please, everybody come back at 1 a.m. and early 1 a.m. at 12:50. Yeah, so earlier time, so we continue our program at 1 a.m. and until 5 p.m. Yeah, until 5 p.m. So thank you so much. So we can close our program now. Yeah, we continue this afternoon. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Record